tuned in to the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and today I'm joined by my co-host Dave, and we have a special guest. He's a podcaster, recording artist, producer, and director. This guy is involved in just about everything. John Brennan, a.k.a. Johnny Bubba. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, wow. Thank you guys for having me on this glorious, beautiful show. I've seen you around and I didn't realize I wasn't following you guys. And then when you asked me to do the show, I followed immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys got a big following.
Instantly offended though, man.
I just didn't know. Like when I'm on social media, there's
Yep.
like my cousins are like, why aren't you friends with me and stuff like that? I just don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
Because I use social media just to really promote. I try not to be on there too often. Sometimes I'm doom scrolling, but that's when I'm bored.
I think that's an interesting thing that people don't like think about. There is just that idea that like I'm only using the social media as like a promotion platform, so I might not be like interactive as much. But
because I try to stay, because I had maybe 2 or 3 Twitter wars back in the day, and I realized how not useful they were. So I started to say, let's just use Twitter as sort of like a promotional thing. And just like, and by the way, this is video.
If you like all things horror and want to get the best horror news, interviews, and reviews,
Like, subscribe, and ring that bell to follow us and satisfy all your horror needs. There you go.
Party City, $4.99.
Party started now.
whoa, that was a deal there.
Oh yeah.
Shit, man. I have to say, you probably created the most catchiest tune ever made, and fans are still singing this shit. It's been like, what, 5 years now?
Oh,
This man is responsible for the Joe Bob's Last Drive-In theme song, man. Like, what was it like creating that song?
Oh man, it was really bizarre because it was one of the fastest creative things that I ever did, and it actually became a success. Sometimes I'll do fast creative things and then they go nowhere. This was really strange because I came on to the Joe Bob show as a production coordinator because I had known a bunch of the guys who were putting it together, and they just said, oh, we know that you do music, because I had done a couple of things for Troma and put stuff in their movies, and I just had put up a bunch of stuff on Bandcamp, songs about cheeseburgers and whatnot. And Matt Mangiarides, who was the executive producer of The Last Drive-In, he knew that I did music. He said, just take a stab at a demo, see if it works. And it did. And then I talked to Austin Jennings, and he said, add a slide guitar and do this and that to it, and it's the theme song. And it was like, seriously, like a day or two from when I wrote it, submitted the demo, to when I was like, got the green light to go ahead and record. It's crazy.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes things take years to come to fruition.
I would say most things probably never happen that way, actually.
Yeah, it's really weird. But I just kind of like had this inspiration because I was a Joe Bob fan and started to think about what would be the celebratory anthem to bring this guy back. And I kind of had the idea of these Muppets in a graveyard next to the drive-in that were like werewolves and mummies and all sorts of stuff, singing Joe Bob is back in town and celebrating that he was returning. Yeah. So that was the inspiration, really.
So speaking of being a fan of Joe Bob, what has it been like working on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob and Darcy?
Amazing. I mean, the whole situation behind the scenes is that we are fans as well. I mean, that every single person that works on the show is like stoked to be there. We're all watched Joe Bob while we were growing up. We're all fans of genre movies, exploitation, horror, all that stuff. So it comes from a place of passion for everybody. And so I think it shines through on the show when people are watching. They just can tell that we're just as enthused as the audience.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Because that's the thing too. Like, I had met Joe Bob a few times now, and like I grew up watching his show with my grandmother. So it was just like I was telling him, and he was like, "Oh, get out of here!" And I was just like, "Yeah, man." She was a big fan. Watching it back on TNT growing up, that was what got me in to like watching like marathon movies, at that time, because as a kid, that was my run at it, so it was cool. So seeing him come back, it was pretty cool doing that, and then having Darcy added on as like the new male girl, because I know that was a lot of things too, because when I was younger, there was a different girl. She was blonde. So, they switched it up now. They have Darcy. So it's cool to kind of like bring back, sometimes we watch it with my kids. So it's cool that you're part of that shit.
It depends on what movie for the kids, though. I mean,
My
Cannibal
kids,
Holocaust,
my kids are into horror. They've been since they was young. So
the
Yeah, but
shunt. Did you show?
John's got a point.
Yeah,
Like
did you
they
show them the
didn't,
shunting? That's a.
no, not
and can probably not too, right?
hmm?
Cannibal Holocaust, probably not.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they've seen it yet.
Yeah.
But it's not
That
as bad though. It's not as bad as if you watched it today. For today's kids, I don't think it would be that bad.
Yeah, I guess today's kids got all this crazy. They're drinking whatever they're drinking on TikTok today. I don't know, like a fucking bleach. It's Bleach Thursday or whatever the hell
Bleach
they're doing.
Thursday.
Like, yeah, chug the bleach on Thursday. You know,
Shut
whatever.
in your
But,
eyes. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's some great. Like, we've shown some great entry level horror. We've also
Yeah.
shown some stuff that's like not even horror. It's like tangential. Like the little girl who lived down the lane really surprised me. I'd never seen that one, but that's the Jodie Foster, Martin Sheen one.
Okay.
I think that's pretty tame, but still intense. So yeah, but then we have to show the extreme stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it so successful. It's literally like across the genre and also like bordering into other genres. So you don't get bored. It's always a guess. Like nobody can ever predict what it's going to be.
Mhm.
You know, even if they put clues out, I usually am wrong.
Yeah, I'm really surprised because I'll get tagged in a bunch of those on Twitter, like everybody's guesses.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, when somebody guesses, I so badly want to be like, "You got it, you son of a bitch, you!" But I just wait. I don't want to break the illusion. But actually,
Yeah.
somebody guessed something that was really random, and I guess they just used the clues that they had put out, and they got it, and I was really excited. And then the night of, I said, "You got it! I knew you got it the whole week. I was waiting to tell you." So. It's a lot of fun. The whole guessing game, I personally like the fact that you guess. I wish that I didn't know some of the things in advance, you know, because but the good thing about it is that sometimes I can wait to watch something, you know, whatever, like when Haunt came out and we did that for one of the Halloween specials. I waited to watch that so I could watch it with the audience and sort of you know, get the experience of learning it with you guys.
And that's been like a cool like thing that's come out of this whole thing is the whole Mutant Fam.
Yeah.
And like how big of a community that's turned into. And then they're doing their own stuff. Like people are live streaming using the Mutant Fam like hashtag and things like that, just, you know, to kind of keep the community going. And I think that's great because it started with breaking Shutter with Joe Bob and then like everybody coming together because of this common interest. And now it's just turned into this bigger than life thing, which is so awesome.
Yeah, it's huge. There's meetups that people are meeting up in all parts of the cities in Buffalo and LA and all these places. I was at a convention in LA called Monster Palooza, and there was one of the mutant meetups just saw me randomly. I didn't even announce I was going to be there. I was just a fan. They were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're here." So I kind of hung out with them for a few minutes. It was just a really cool community. Everybody's so nice. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, man. So it's been cool. I was able to buy like the vinyl of the Joe Bob Briggs soundtrack, you know, so I got that for my wife for Valentine's Day. So, you know, so yeah, she's a big big Joe Bob fan. So, you know, and all those songs, man, that you're able to sit there and create. You did a song with Chris Jericho for the Bloodsucking Freaks. What was that experience like sitting there just doing that with him?
Oh, well, that was really interesting because I didn't really know that he was coming on until not too long, you know, like 2 weeks or so in advance. And I was talking to Austin Jennings, who's the director, on what we could do. And I wrote a couple of songs beforehand that I've never released. I have demos of them. One's called the Cheap Ass Video Club, which was based in like an idea that Jericho had when he was a younger man with his friends. They would go out and they would have the Cheap Ass Video Club, buy the cheapest ass, rent the cheapest ass VHS, and that's how he sort of learned about Bloodsucking Freaks and stuff. That one was a little more complicated because it was sort of a musical number and like everybody had a line to sing. So we had to scrap that for time. And I was like really nervous because Jericho's a celebrity. He's a huge celebrity. He's probably the first really major celebrity that we've had on beyond like the horror community. So I was like, it was like the day before I was flying out to go and do the shoot. And I borrowed my girlfriend's brother's guitar and I was sitting in her bathroom and just like playing. And finally I hit Bloodsucking Freaks. I got that song. And I sent the acoustic demo from the bathroom to Austin and he approved it. So it was another one of those like weird last minute things where I didn't have that planned.
Yeah.
And then Jericho heard the song and he liked it. And then I didn't hear anything for that week. And when he came to set, he goes, "Hey man, I heard your song. I liked it. I'm going to go learn it."
Yeah.
So, oh man, he's going to go learn it now. But then he walked away 15 minutes. He listened to it on repeat in his AirPods, came back, knew every word, and we shot the thing. It was great.
That's
That's
awesome.
sick.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Bloodsucking Freaks?
You know, I used to work at Troma, so I knew of Bloodsucking Freaks beforehand. And what's weird is even before that, that was one of the first movies that I ever watched on Netflix. Back in the day, Netflix
when it was disc.
Oh no,
The
even
disc
before,
rental or
when
streaming?
they first started streaming, they had a bunch of Troma movies on there, and one of them was Bloodsucking Freaks, and me and my friend watched it while we were at work.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is this? This is so weird," because I didn't catch the Troma at the beginning. And then when I looked it up, and I said, "Oh shit, it's Troma," and that sort of like sparked my reintroduction to Troma as in my 20s. Because when I was a kid, I loved Troma, but yeah, I had never seen Bloodsucking Freaks. It's a bizarre movie, but I love it.
Bizarre, yeah. Yeah.
So how did you and the Big Feet get together, man? How'd that band form what it is today?
It's all because of the Last Drive-In. I mean, I just knew each of the guys, and they both of them worked at the two original guys, Levi White and Jimmy Adamson, were both Troma guys. Jimmy Adamson was a volunteer for a while, but then he became the production coordinator on Shakespeare's Shitstorm, which is Lloyd's latest feature. We shot that in 2018 before the pandemic, and it's still not even had a proper release because we played a bunch of theaters and stuff, whatever. But then Levi White for a while at Troma was the PR guy, and that's how I got to know him really well while I was Lloyd's assistant. And when it came time to do the Big Feet, Jimmy played drums. He's been a punk drummer for like 20 something years. And Levi White is one of the most underrated guitar players I've ever met in my life. The guy's like Dean Ween or something, or Trey Anastasio from Fish. He can shred like a motherfucker. So I got them together with a couple of other random people. And now we have a guy, Joe Shack, who's our bass player, who is like our live player.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's just like pieces from all over the place, kind of like just came together because I just needed a band by the spur of the moment sort of thing, you know?
It works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the best bands come together, I guess. Just kind of.
Well, now we're pretty good. We started to like learn some stuff for this new jamboree that we're going to do in October.
Okay.
A couple of TV theme songs that aren't Joe Bob related. Let's put it that way. We're doing some old school TV theme songs that people are going to know and be able to sing along to. Spoiler, one of them's the Golden Girls theme.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you for being a friend. It's just perfect because all the mutants are going to sing along to that. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
That's funny because when I was saying, the theme song for Joe Bob, I haven't felt a theme song that was done properly since, back in the day for like Golden Girls or like Full House or Family Matters.
All the TGI Fridays.
That fits, So you guys definitely killed it, and definitely, congratulations on making that a hit, man.
I appreciate that so much. I mean, to put us in the Full House realm.
Oh, you guys are right there.
That guy, he wrote all those. I think his name is Jesse something. I got to look it up, but he wrote the Full
Uncle
House.
Jesse?
It should be Uncle Jesse.
Jesse and the Rippers actually performed it.
They actually performed it. I wish I knew the guy's name, but he did Family Matters, Step by Step, Full House, Perfect Stranger. He did all of those, and they're all so memorable. But that's the thing, I do kind of find that in the new day and age, jingles and theme songs aren't all there.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't know why. You watch these new Netflix shows or streaming shows, and it's now all that same weird opening where it's like esoteric imagery with some sort of an instrumental, and there's no melody. It's weird.
And the big issue is like in the bottom corner it says skip intro.
Yeah.
So they they put literally no effort into making an intro because they actually are encouraging you to skip it. So
yeah.
Or the there's a new theme song. It's been in my not a theme song, a jingle, because I love jingles. If I could write jingles for a living, I would. I mean, I write songs about cheese. Yeah. I'm trying to get to the Kraft cheese. If you guys know the Kraft cheese people, I got a song for them. It's called Cheese. But there's this BK, have it your way.
Yeah.
I can't. It's I don't
Yep.
know what's wrong with it, but I just don't like it.
Send something out to him. I'm pretty sure like, you
It
you
just
got something that'll work. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's like
something's gonna
boom, boom,
stick.
boom, 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 Burger King. Yeah, I already wrote it. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Actually, I'm
It's
going to Burger
something.
King right now just off of that shit.
holy shit.
Burger King. Yeah.
I haven't been there for a while, but I think I'm in the mood for a Whopper.
Do you like a Whopper? Do you like a Whopper Burger King? Yeah, we could do. It's just screaming.
Shit.
That's perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I don't want to
There's
disparage the BK Have It Your Way guy. It's just like the problem with that is he just sounds bored when he's
No, he's
singing
trying to
it.
brainwash us. I feel like it's like a taunt or like a trance. I'm like,
Maybe.
BK, and then like, yeah, I don't
have
know
it
though.
your way.
I
Sounds
haven't
like he's
eaten
on.
BK in a long time, so I mean that says
Yeah.
something right there. It obviously isn't effective.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
gotta
like
do.
to disparage other people's music. This guy's probably a genius, written 1,000 beautiful songs, and then just like me, like the one weirdest song that he ever wrote hits, and then you never be remembered for anything else but the BK Have It Your Way or the Joe Bob Is Back in Town song.
He's
But just think
listening to
about
this
it.
somewhere, putting lipstick on, saying, "You're gonna get your day, John Brennan. You're gonna
Yup,
get
yup.
your day."
I'm pretty sure a lot of corporate people at McDonald's or Burger King are singing, Joe Bob is back
Back
in
in.
town. So that
We
money's
could
out there, man. Go
and
get
we
it.
could yeah, we could rewrite that song. McDonald's is back in town. We'll just license it to
Ooh.
each thing. Yeah,
There you go.
Arby's is back in town. Everything. We'll just
Start doing
Grimace.
everybody with just the same
Yeah,
thing.
same
Grimace is
song.
back in town.
Yeah. I think that works. Jiffy Lube is back in town. It could just work for
It
Come
anything.
get
works.
your shit.
Wow, it literally works for everything.
Yeah.
Ah, shit. So yeah, man, I had to throw on my spooky shirt for this interview
Oh,
because man, that song is just fucking crazy, man. That's probably one of my favorite songs that's on the album. And we
oh,
just actually did a screening of Spookies a couple months ago, and so we did a little promotion for it too, and kind of like put out the video. And,
yes.
Joe Bob and Darcy got reposted that, so because we had the music going to it,
Oh, hell
from
yeah.
from your music video that you guys shot for it, and that's why I seen like Joe Bob actually had this shirt on. It's the
Yeah.
last drive-in shirt, so I was just like, I need that shit. My wife got it for me for that event, so uh
Amazing. I
See
love
what?
Spookies. The only I said it's a confusing movie, but
Yeah.
then I
yeah,
wanted the second verse to be the spooky being like, what's wrong with you? So what's if it's confusing? I'm a spooky and all you need are the thrills. That's all you need.
yeah.
And they
That's
give it
right.
to you.
See what you missed out on, John, when you weren't following us.
See,
Yeah,
All the
exactly.
support we
Now
were given,
yeah, that's all the support. Now I'm following you guys and now I can get the updates.
but it's too
yeah.
late. You missed it. We already supported it. Sorry.
Oh, you'll do it again. You'll do
Yeah,
something
you're
else.
right. You're
We
right.
got to do something. We
We
got to
could do
post some
cool
more
stuff.
songs.
But yeah, Spookies, that was a great one because that one just came out of organically. Austin was like, what would you like to do this season? And I said I would love to do a hip-hop song. I mean, me and my brother have been making stupid idiot hip-hop for years. And I knew I could do something, and he's like, that's great because we could do like a fake end credit rap song for Spookies. And I said, all right, awesome, let's do it. And then luckily we got to use samples from the actual Spookies soundtrack. We got permission. So
Okay.
all the samples that you hear in the Spookies beat are from Spookies.
Oh, that's wild. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you
Cool.
go. You actually were a part of a Shutter screening of Spookies a couple years ago, right? You had at the drive-in.
Last October. Yeah, last October at Mahoning Drive-In, we did a double feature of the last drive-in episodes of Spookies and
Oh,
Things.
yeah.
Okay.
And that was a wild night because Spookies is great. And then I love Things, but Things at, I don't know, midnight at a drive-in,
Yeah.
and it's very cold outside, and it's like really, it's an endurance test. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. For actually, Frank Farrell, who did Spookies, he co-wrote Spookies and produced Spookies. He was there as well, along
Okay.
with Yuki Nakamura. And
Yeah.
me and Yuki did sort of like a intro to the whole thing while the sun was going down. We did a radio takeover. It was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to go to the Mahoning once. I went for a day of the Tromathon a couple years ago, and
Cool.
that drive-in is so cool. Like that
Yeah.
is just it's just a great vibe. They totally embrace the horror genre and all its fans, and it's great. So that's a really cool event that you got to do.
Best drive-in I've ever been to. And it's I went to see Trick or Treat there, the one from the 80s. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
just like, oh, it's so awesome. And I saw Terminator 2 there. And the
Mm.
beautiful thing about Terminator 2, behind the screen there was lightning storm passing by while the movie was on, but the lightning storm wasn't coming towards us, it was just going across the background. So seriously, there's like these crazy lightning bolts hitting while Terminator 2 is playing. It was like
That's
Skynet was in
awesome.
the distance. It was amazing.
Yes, yeah,
That's sick.
that is great.
Yeah.
So now you touched on a little bit of your past on working with Troma, you know. So last year we did an event for the Shakespeare Shitstorm.
Oh,
Here,
really? Oh my
yeah, we
God.
had it. Yeah, we had it here. Lloyd came down, so we had it down in Providence, down at the Columbus Theater. So, you know, what was your experience like working on that film? Because you were a producer on it, right?
Yeah. So it was a long lead up to produce Shakespeare Shitstorm. First I was an editing volunteer. Then
Hmm.
I was working in the office as Lloyd's assistant slash producer. I co-produced the Return to Nukem Heim Volume 2, did a bunch of web series, and then it just came to be where we went to Cannes for Return to Nukem High Volume 2, and Lloyd Cannes was kind of horrible to us. It was like, truthfully, sometimes when Lloyd says people are blacklisting Troma or whatever, sometimes I was like, I don't know, maybe not. In this regard, I've really felt like it did happen because I witnessed it firsthand.
Yeah.
And there's a short documentary on the Troma YouTube page called From Festival to Fascism, Cannes 2017, Troma gets disrespected, something like that. And so we came back and Lloyd was kind of like not too happy about that. Not a day or two goes by and Lloyd says, you know what, we're doing The Tempest and you're the guy, you're going to produce it. And I said, oh, all right, let's do it. I'm here. I'm the right man at the right time. And so I sort of like weaned myself out of the position of being Lloyd's assistant and into the producer's role. And we developed that script over the course of, I don't know, maybe 8 months or so, maybe a little longer. And then went straight into production. And over this course of 2018, the summer from June to August, we shot that movie. It was a lot of work. Part of it was shot in Albania,
Hmm.
which Justin Martell, who's the producer, executive producer of The Last Drive-In, he did that unit in Albania while I was setting up the New York. We moved Troma back to New York City and shot in Astoria and Manhattan and Brooklyn. And yeah, it was a wild time. It was a very psychedelic summer.
Now, did Rocco
Without
take
drugs,
over?
no drugs.
No drugs. Now,
No
did
drugs.
Rocco take over your position after you had left that? After you moved up?
No, Rocco actually was much later than
Okay.
that. While I was there, a guy named Flavio De Castro, he's a Brazilian guy who actually moved back to Brazil and is now making real, not that Troma's not real, but he's
Yeah.
making like $2-3 million movies down in Brazil. So
Nice.
he got a lot of training in Troma and then moved back and is using that practical knowledge. That's the thing, is like Troma is a training ground, and if you have the means to go there and work for little to no pay, you will learn so much. It's an invaluable experience. So
Yeah.
I would suggest anybody out there who, when Lloyd announces his next movie and you have the means to work for free or to little money for 3 or 4 months, do it. You will learn so much, for real. So yeah, Flavio took over. I was Rocco was actually on Shakespeare Shitstorm. He was in the grip and electric department.
Yep.
Cool.
Wait,
Yeah.
so Rocco set up the PV the
Yeah,
No,
Rocco
well, yeah, he was
at the time.
involved at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And we had him on because he had done what is it? I Want You Dead.
I
Or
Need You
Yeah.
Dead.
I Need You Dead.
Great movie, and he's
So we
working
got to
on
check
one.
that out.
Yeah, he's working on one now called Flapjacks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
He's been posting all the news footage because I guess there's a bunch of news footage from the town that they're filming it in, because they transformed the restaurant into Flapjacks.
Yep.
So that's been cool to see.
Yeah, it's a local uproar.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's so much of Shakespeare Shitstorm that is like, just getting to know people that are involved in the film. It's just funny to see everybody like and think about how they like. Did you get to experience the actual shit? Like, did you get covered in shit at all?
So yes, and Rocco relates this, so now I can finally clear the air. Because Rocco told me the story. I said this is totally untrue. So not to disparage him in any way, but he misremembers how this went down. So I have a cameo in the movie. There's this shining hallway. We recreated The Shining, the elevator with the blood, but instead of blood, it's a bunch of shit that gets shot out of this elevator door. And me and this guy Drew Bolduc, who's a filmmaker, made the hallway out of models and all this stuff. And we shot that. That was like the first thing we shot with a skeleton crew, and it came out pretty good. It looked good. So we needed to match the other side with like the Danny Torrance, like that kind of thing. So I said, I haven't had any time to do a cameo in this. That's my cameo, because it was a B role. So they doused me in shit. I mean, like so much shit. So much shit. And so the only way that we were in this club in Astoria, and their claim to fame was that one time a Kardashian went there. But from Monday to Thursday, they were closed. They were closed to the general public, and then they would only be open for the weekend. So we were able to shoot there Monday to Thursday. We didn't exactly tell them the extent of the shit pouring. We left that to the last day.
There might be a little excrement, just a little bit.
They saw some stuff, but they were not prepared for the 3-foot pool of shit in the middle of their dining room. That it was a lot of shit.
That's
I mean,
incredible.
There's behind the scenes coming out called "Brown is the Warmest Color." It's a feature-length documentary about the making of, and you see this like crazy contraption. It's literally a pool that they built in the middle of the thing with like rain gear shooting shit down. So I got doused, and the only way that we were able to really clear actors off was on the truck's loading dock with a hose. It was horrible. It was torture, but that was the only way that we really had to do it. And at least we brought people towels, right? So
it's nice.
I was getting shot and cleaned off, and Rocco came over to me. He's like, "Hey man, the DP like forced me to buy a tool, and could you reimburse me?" And I'm like, "I'm covered in shit. I'm covered in water and shit. Like, can you ask me about this later?" And then he never did. And then a few years later, he's like, "Yeah, remember that time that I came up to you and I said that I was hungry and I needed food to eat?" I said, no, you asked me to reimburse for a tool, and I said, ask me about it later. You weren't saying that you were starving for food.
That's what he was trying to say to you. Your ears were full of shit, so you couldn't hear him.
Yeah, I said, he said tool. I said, it really said food.
Yes.
I said, you need food. I don't know, but no, Rocco's a great guy. I think that Flapjacks is going to be a great movie. And I really thought I Need You Dead was like awesome. I finished watching that at 3 a.m, and I texted him immediately. I was like, "You are the next thing, man. You just keep doing this. Don't give up, because it's great."
Yeah. So that just looked like Shakespeare's Shitstorm just looked like it was such a blast to be a part of. So it was definitely
a shit blast.
Yeah,
there you go.
It was great because we got a pretty decent turnout for when we showed it here in Providence, and just everybody had such a good time. We did the Q&A with Lloyd after. That was exactly how you'd probably expect it to go.
Oh,
and everybody was just left there with smiles, and just it was a great time. So it was very
amazing.
Cool.
I mean, there were so many fluids and things flying on that set. I mean, there's this one shot that got cut out, which was like the longest cum shot in history. It just kept going. It was just semen flying into this guy's face for like a half hour.
Awesome.
And the first few cuts, it was there, and it brought the house down. But I guess we need to cut something
save
out.
a little time. Yeah. So speaking of live events, you do live shows, right?
Yeah, I mean, like not all the time, because all the big feet have other jobs and some have families and stuff, but when we can, we get together and we do shows for sure.
Yeah. What's the energy like at those shows? I mean, that just must be a fucking blast, I would imagine, right?
Oh, it's so good. We did a show 2 weeks ago in Brooklyn with a punk band from China called Round Eye, and they invited us out of nowhere maybe like 8 months ago. They just reached out and said, "Hey, whatever." But I had known Round Eye because they did something with Joe Bob. They did a record called Monster Vision, and he did a cameo on it, doing the drive-in totals and stuff like that. So we did the show. It was in a basement in Brooklyn. It was off the hook. I mean, it was like so awesome. People moshing and going nuts, and it was like the energy was huge.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
We got to get you out our way at some point.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we could figure it out and I could get the big feet all on the same page, I think we could hopefully come up. And I haven't been to Rhode Island in a long time. I went to Rhode Island once, and I think I was on acid at a fish show. So I got to come back sober.
We can. Well, I was just gonna say we could recreate that if you want. We can tell you at a fish show if you want.
That'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, we love doing the live show. I mean, we've been slowly adding a bunch more stuff. So the good thing about the big feed is that we can kind of do 2 or 3 sets now of different stuff. Yeah. So that's very important to me, because anytime I see a band and it's the exact same show every single time, it's kind of disappointing. I mean, at least vary up 2 or 3 of the songs, or throw in a rarity or something like that. So
I was able to check out some of your footage that you had done down at the Joe Bob's Jamboree back in 2020. Those tickets, man, those shits would sell out so fast. I was just damn, man, I was trying to get them, but then I was like, I couldn't. So I would see everybody sitting there posting all their feeds and then their stories on Instagram. So it looked like a good time. How was it like performing down there?
Oh, the Jamboree, performing at the Jamborees, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the lottery for us, because we're just we're used to playing small stuff, a small club or whatever. But at the Jamboree, you're playing to 1,000+ people, and it's like Woodstock or something, and people all come to the front of the stage and going nuts and singing along, and it's so weird. We did a cover of a song called "Sound System" by Operation Ivy.
Yeah.
The place exploded. People were skating, all that dance that the ska people do, the skanking. People were skanking. It was amazing. So yeah, it's almost like the lottery. We get to play these huge shows that we would never ever would get to play otherwise.
That's so cool.
That's
cool.
Now let's talk about you and Yuki's podcast. But before we get into that, I want to know, how did you even meet Yuki Nakamura? How did that relationship start?
It's all thanks to Troma. So many things are thanks to Troma. Wow. So look, Yuki was a set designer and production designer on Shakespeare Shitstorm.
Okay.
So the way he came was, I just was looking for people to build sets. We needed sort of a wall for a ship, an interior to fake a ship. And I put it out on Craigslist. I put an ad and said, looking for experienced set builders, whatever. And Yuki came, and he came to the Troma office, which is in Long Island City, New York, on the most stormy February day I've ever seen. It was almost like a hurricane, thunder, lightning crashing down. And he came with a broken umbrella and a portfolio this thick. And he just was like, he ran inside. And we started talking immediately, and the guy just charmed the pants off me. Not literally, but that came later. But
you sure? You sure about that?
He comes to my apartment once a month now for a good reason. But he gave me this portfolio, and I started looking through it. And the first thing he said, I built a spaceship. I said, what? You built a spaceship? What are you talking about? So I started looking through his portfolio. It was like ballroom scenes, spaceships, shipwrecks, all kinds of stuff. The dude was, and then he started explaining, I've done 30 something Hallmark movies, this movie, that movie, the other movie. I said, you're hired. I don't, how much do you want? Let's just do this. And he kind of was just like, I just want the experience because I'm out of work right now, and I've always known what Troma was, so this will be fun. And that was it. And then because of that, while they were simultaneously, the Joe Bob thing was getting developed. And around maybe a month or two before we shot Shakespeare Shitstorm, some of the producers of the Last Drive-In said, do you know any guys who build sets? And I said, I just met the best set builder of all time. His name is Yuki Nakamura. Here you go. And they hired him for the Last Drive-In.
That's awesome.
The rest is history. He came to all the rest of the shoots. It was amazing.
So almost like everybody involved with Joe Bob has Troma links. Because I know Justin Martell has a scene in Shakespeare Shitstorm where he's in a cage.
And he produced it with me. Yeah. Well, that's Return to Nukem High. He's in the cage.
Oh, okay. All right.
The fart cage.
Yeah. I think I'm getting confused, but yeah.
They're hard to, but he's in Shakespeare Shitstorm. He says, let me tell you how Bernie could still win the 2016 election. That's him in that movie.
Okay.
But yeah, so he produced multiple Troma movies. He worked as Lloyd's assistant for a while. He worked as PR there for a long time. And then as he was leaving, I was coming in. And we just crossed paths. I used to go to the premieres and stuff, and we struck up a friendship. Similarly with Matt Mangiarides, who is another executive producer on The Last Drive-In, also a Troma guy. Just sort of got to know them through the Troma happenings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it says a lot, because I know, you know, people can have their opinions about Troma films and the Troma world, but like, you can't deny that, you know, it is all about indie filmmaking and about, like, kind of like you said, it's like a stepping stone, or it's like kind of getting that experience under your belt, so you can kind of hopefully take that and move on to other things as well. So it's benefited a lot of people, it seems.
100%. It's like school. It really is like a school. But it's the Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Herz school of filmmaking. Yeah. And while not every single thing that they do is useful in, say, a Hollywood setting or whatever, sometimes it doesn't matter, because most of us aren't going on to make Hollywood movies. Sure. Most of us are going on to make independent films. And sometimes these things work. I mean, I can't tell you how many times the $50 trick worked. If you need something to get done, Lloyd always is just give him $50. And usually when you give somebody $50, they go, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want, you know, in the moment. So we got all sorts of stuff for $50. We got to use the showers of the next door neighbors for $50, all kinds of things.
$50.
Yeah, give him $50. Be like, Lloyd, we have this major problem. There's all this failing. Give him $50.
That's awesome.
Okay, we'll try it, and it usually works.
So, John, why don't you do us a favor? Can you tell our listeners, like, plug everything, tell them where to find you, and every other project you got coming up?
Oh man, let's see.
All right, just a couple of projects.
What can I say? I'm just trying to think what I can say and not say, because certain things I can't. Okay, so for sure, obviously, The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. The Jamboree is coming up. So if you're in Vegas and you can get the tickets, it's going to be an absolute blast. I'm not exactly sure what they've announced, but I do know that Roger Corman has been announced, which is, come on,
incredible.
You gotta come. And this is October 5th, 6th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. 5th, I know. Okay, I'm going there. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So whatever that weekend is, that's the Jamboree. So the Saturday is going to be Roger Corman. Charles Band is going to be there on the Friday shooting a movie in the audience. So if you want to be in a Full Moon Features movie, come to the Jamboree.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Sunday is going to be Chris Jericho's band, Fozzy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then we're going to play. It's going to be a whole thing. And there's all these other guests are coming in that haven't even been announced. It's amazing. So that's one thing for sure. Another thing that is Yuki and John's Patreon buffet. But on top of that, we have Yuki and John's podcast buffet, which if you can't afford the Patreon because you just, life sucks and we're all broke, we give away a podcast for free, and we talk about any topic. And if you have any topics out there that you want us to talk about, I mean, we just did an episode about laundry. We just did an episode about driving. So any mundane topic, me and Yuki can cover it, because Yuki can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anything. I mean, you just whatever. You take him to an insurance seminar. At the end, he'll give you an overview.
It was cool. I was able to watch a video of you guys throwing ninja stars at the cardboard box.
Oh my god! So Yuki's the best. He went to Japan, and I had mentioned in passing one time wanting one of the stars when I was a little kid. I mean, little kid. Mm-hmm. He brought a proper ninja star back for me. It was the nicest thing. And so I luckily had this huge Amazon box. And we started practicing and throwing it at the thing for a half hour. It was amazing. That's awesome. I've since taken it to the woods and thrown it at trees and stuff, and I sharpened it. It really is
nice.
A great weapon.
Yeah.
And then let's see, what else do I got coming up? I mean, that's it for now. Some of the other stuff, next year I'm going to have this big music project coming out that I can't really exactly say what it is, because it's still developing for me. But essentially what it's going to be is just like at least 200 demos coming out, and I'm probably going to release them in a form of a podcast, like 4 or 5 per episode, because I had this computer back in the day that died. But I saved the hard drive for a long time, and there was like 50, 60 demos on there. I took it to somebody and they were able to extract the stuff.
Damn.
So I got all this work back. So I have this huge like collection of stuff that I'm going to start to put out. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I still don't know what the name's going to be or whatever, but probably next April I'll start releasing just a shitload of music.
Nice. We'll definitely help promote that, to help you push it out there. So definitely send it our way when you start to release it.
Thank you so much.
No doubt.
So Bad Techno on the Twitter, or X, I should say.
Oh God, it's changing. That sucks. At Bad Techno, and that's the thing is like Twitter is where I have most of my momentum. The other stuff, social media, I have barely anything. But on Twitter, I have a pretty good amount of people that I could reach out to. I hope it doesn't get destroyed. But yeah, at Bad Techno, either Instagram or Twitter or X, and then I have my link tree where that goes to every single portal of things that I've ever done, including
awesome
music from 1992.
Throwbacks.
All the way back to the song I shit my pants.
Classic
the classic
tune right there.
I shit my pants. Well, no, the first song I ever wrote in my life is Jamie Poops All Day Long. She Never Stops Pooping. And
there you go.
That was in kindergarten. So I'm going to re-record that one for everybody.
Little talent show.
You want to say Jamie's full name so I can fully embarrass her?
I don't remember it.
Oh,
man. I would look her up now and say, yo, remember that song?
Remember when you pooped all day?
Yeah.
You still got that problem?
Never stopped pooping?
Damn, I need to know, man. Did you ever enter any of their talent shows in school?
So that's funny. Yeah, actually, this is embarrassing. I'm older. I'm like 45 or 44. Wait, no, 44. And I entered a talent show when I was a little kid, and I sang a New Edition song because I had a crush on this girl, and it fucking bombed like a bastard. It bombed so bad.
Candy Girl?
Mr. Telephone Man.
I gotta look up which song it was. I gotta ask my mother because she remembers. But then the thing was that my kindergarten teacher saw that I was outgoing and cast me as the king in The King and I. So because of that, I got the lead in the play.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you weren't as bad as you thought.
No, it was like, hey, that's the only kindergartner who, is singing a song on stage. I love it. It was really strange. But yeah, throughout the years, I used to do plays and stuff like that. And yeah, I like that stuff.
I love that you picked a New Edition song to do too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was of the time. So I didn't know anything.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So yeah, John, thank you, man, so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully we can continue to do this and do something in person at some point in time, because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on. So, and now I follow you so we can keep in touch.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah. We appreciate it, man.
Yes, thank you. So everybody, make sure you check out all John's social media that we already said, so you can stay informed and keep track of everything he's got going on. And stick around to April, and you'll be getting a whole lot of songs. It sounds like a whole lot.
About 200 is the plan.
That's all you're gonna be listening to for a full year, I think.
We'll see. Some of them probably aren't that good. I would say 42% might be enjoyable.
Well, Jamie Pooped Her Pants All Day Long is in that 200.
That's so you will be the first song. Jamie poops all day long. She never stops pooping. Yeah, it's good.
So you guys have a lot to look forward to. I really am jealous of everybody here. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Have a great night.
Take it easy.